application. So when you're writing your application, just be warned, you might fall into one of 4 camps. So when we look at applications, we see people generally tend to fall into one of 4 areas. So the first one, I call it, these are just what I've given them names for. This is not an industry standard. This is a Hannah sitting down trying to name things. And it's the read it in 1 minute application. And generally, very few people have these, but they're really quickly put together. There's quite often limited information. Sometimes the question is unfinished. There's generally spelling and grammatical errors. You can probably assume that person's probably not going to go forward. They're probably going to score quite low. The second type is the lifting values from the website. And this is where it gets a bit difficult because I think it's easy for people to fall into this one, even when they don't intend to. So this type of application, sometimes it's copied and pasted, or it appears to be copied and pasted from the website without delving much deeper. So when we're talking about, we're looking for people who align with our values, people might say, I'm authentic, I am true to myself, I consider myself to be brave, without really giving us much evidence as to why they do it. Sometimes there's quite a lot of waffle. They can, in the questions, they're trying to fill up that space without really properly doing the work beforehand that allows them to fill out that space with focus. We quite often see comments like, I want to work at Shakespeare Martineau because they're going to be a top 30 law firm by 2025, and I like how collaborative they are. That's the sort of thing we might see in this sort of application. But why is that of interest? How are we going to get to that point? Are there any particular teams you're interested in? Why are you interested in those teams? Have you had a conversation with someone and that spurred you to think about that area of law? Those are the sort of things that I want to know. That's a bit more, shows more of a drive for us than lifting stuff and popping it on the application. Generally, what we say is that if you could insert the name of any other law firm into any of your answers, and it would still make reasonable sense, you probably haven't tailored it enough to our business, and it's probably not going to get you through. Also, you might have only partially answered the question. So another reason why you might fall into this bracket is that you haven't asked the question fully. Unfortunately, 50 to 60% of people do fall into this. So it's worth really getting the work done in advance and starting that work early to make sure that your application doesn't stand that risk. The third type of application is the focused and concise applications. Generally, people have done their research outside of the website. Their spelling is good, their grammar's good. Generally, they've understood the question and tailored their answer. It's generally a really, really good answer. They might have followed us on social media. It's clear they've done the research. They might have just possibly just missed the mark on the application. These applications are really, really good applications, but because of the number of applications that we take through to assessment centre it's a smaller number. It's not, you want your application to not be a really good application, you want it to be a great application. And that's where people stand out. So the super strong applications, this is where you want to land. And these applications are from people who have clearly done their research, and most importantly, they've applied it. So rather than just pulling the stuff that they've taken from the website, they've applied it to them as an individual, rather than just doing their research around whatever the commercial awareness related question is. They've done their research around it, but they've applied it to us and our markets or our clients, whatever that might be. It is free from any spelling and grammatical errors. Written communication is really, really important. You've got 5 months to application deadline. There is time to make sure your spelling and grammar is right, and it really needs to be on your application. We do mark down if there are significant spelling and grammar errors. So if you've got a couple of spelling or grammatical errors in there, you could lose a couple of points, and that could be enough to put you below the others and put you below the assessment centre line. So really, really recommend you check through it. Questions are answered fully. People have shown their personality in it, and it's really, really clear why they want the role with us.